10 to 3? Goodness me.
Right.
Hi, everyone. We are live and ready with you. It is a little bit later than usual. My name is Helena.
And I'm Kelly.
And we are Speaker Insight, where we help speakers, authors, and coaches to build a business on your terms. So we are live and direct for you. I'm just going to go back to get over here. Hold on.
Oh,
here we go.
Beautiful. There we go.
So we have with us Steve and Odille Remmert, and we have a real treat for you because it is the end of January, and traditionally, you know, it's that kind of time where I believe the saying goes, you run out of month before you run out of money, or the other way around, however it works.
You run out of money before
there's too much month at the end of the money. And that's why we thought we'd save this one up for you right for the end of January, because, you know, as speakers, authors, and coaches, it's possible to be in a little bit of a feast and famine kind of scenario inside your businesses, and where's the next little bit coming from? And that can cause us a little bit of stress. So we thought we would help you by actually having somebody on to do that.
Tarina thought she missed us. No, we're just the later ones today because these lovely guys are joining us from America. So this is the earliest we could get them up.
I was just going to say, Amy's going to be happy about this one, probably. You know, sort of like, so good morning to you two, and good afternoon to all in the UK that are watching. And if you are, of course, watching on the hashtag replay, do a hashtag replay and let us know, because, you know, all four of us will be paying attention to any of the questions that you have, any of the things that are going on. So that's really how it works.
Kieran's wishing us all a happy last week of the month.
Oh, happy last week of the month. I feel we should do more of that.
We can't say Happy New Year anymore, right? It's way past that time.
You see, the thing about that is but we can say Happy New Year because, of course, it is the week of Chinese New Year. And so that actually, and it's a really important thing to sort of note, because for a lot of people, you know, we may well use, there are only 11 months of the year, or 10 if you dismiss December entirely, because actually a lot of people use January as kind of I'm just coming out of, I'm beginning to get into my year, and actually Chinese New Year.
I take the whole of August off too.
So Kelly runs a 9-month year. Anybody for anything else? I'm quite enjoying this whole kind of thing around how long is your year? But what I was going to say was that actually, as speakers, authors, and coaches, we're in charge of our own fortunes. We're in charge of our own destiny. And part of that is the strategic element that you do at the start of the year. So, you know, the Facebook Lives, we've just done the newsletter that's about to go out. And the Facebook Lives that we've done throughout the whole month of January have been around goal setting, strategic stuff, inside our membership, numbers, metrics, all of those things that actually set you up to have an amazing year. And knowing your numbers and looking at the fortunes can, for some, be a stressful thing. So we thought we would actually invite some people along to do that.
Yeah, and again, this is one of the things, if you're not part of the Connection Hub, we do a poll every quarter to ask our members, what do you want training on? What guests can we get on? And this one about how to manage your finances was our #1 top voted poll. So that's why we were like, we know that you're going to be a popular one, whether people watch us on the replay or they join us live. You're one of our topics that was highly sought over. So we're very grateful to have you.
And seriously, don't be a lurker. Like, ask the questions that you want to ask, because we always know that that's sort of, you know, at the slightly, I don't kind of, you know, subjects. Don't be a lurker. Ask what you need to have asked, and that's what we would say.
Our members would be very grateful. I'm sure when you vote for something, 10 other people go, hell yes, I want that too.
Some of that. That's really good. So a little bit of buzz in our business. We're really just going to say we ran a brilliant Connect and Create Day. We would love to hear your buzz, whether you are live or not. But we ran a brilliant Connect and Create Day.
So I'm butting in.
Yeah, you are.
Kieran missed the poll. If anyone else missed the poll, just go to our announcement posts in the Connection Hub, and it's still there, and you can still vote, Kieran. You can still add your own choices.
There you go. So that actually works. But yeah, so we ran a Connect and Create Day, which is of course where we get a whole bunch of the members of the Connection Hub together live physically so that they can actually talk and have proper conversations rather than just in the virtual world.
And work on their business.
It was an incredible day where people got loads and loads of stuff done. So we will say this, the next Connect and Create Day is coming up on Monday, the 16th of March. I think four spaces have already gone within a heartbeat. So, don't miss out, because we did have quite a few people go, any spaces left? And we're like, no, I'm really sorry.
Booked.
So fully booked, which of course is a delicious issue to have. And so on that note, I'm going to turn it over here and say, Odille and Steve, meet the rest of Speaker Insight and the Connection Hub.
Hi everyone.
And
we'll try to pick up one of those slots on Monday too.
Yeah. Because hey, why not, right? We would love for you to fly back over.
Any excuse to have you back over with us, guys.
I know. These two actually did fly over just to see us, is what I'm making up. Which is good. So what's in your business, you two?
So we have a couple of things. First of all, we have just hired a event planner to work with us to create more of our own events, workshops and retreats, and that, which we're very excited about. So we'll be sharing more of that closer to the time.
Nice.
And we did a fantastic event in Chicago. We were speaking at the We Win organization's event. Nice. Which was a wonderful experience. We loved that. And very excitingly, we're doing a retreat in Maui, in Hawaii.
Hello!
And neither of us have been to Hawaii before, so we're very excited. We're actually teaching. We've been invited to join a team in Hawaii, and we'll be teaching at their event. So it's called Maui Mind Spa.
Oh,
Mind Spa, and
I'm back to when?
Oh yeah,
end of April.
End of April into beginning of May. So it's a 5-day retreat.
And if I put the link to your website, guys, will any details of it be on your website?
Yes, it is on our website. Yeah. So it's in the menu, and it's all inclusive, including luxury accommodation at a beautiful retreat spa.
Bed, spa. I'm there already. I'm there.
And it's healthy farm to table food, and it includes yoga and trips around
Maui.
Yeah, exploring Maui. And everything.
So here's what I'm actually hearing. So for the speakers, authors, and coaches that have joined us, this is exactly why we set up our businesses, because we get to go to the places that we would love to go to
as a business expense,
and enjoy it
and get paid for it.
Yeah, completely. It's like, what's not to love about getting paid for that? So I'm going to backtrack a teeny little bit and actually say, Odille, Steve, what do you actually do in the world so that people understand why we're asking you about how not to get stressed around your finances?
Right. Yeah. So we are mindset coaches, and we specialize in emotions and the effects of emotions on business and subconscious programming, subconscious reprogramming, in fact. And I love the topic of money in this regard, particularly because I completely changed. I've had a complete turnaround in my life.
Yes. Hence the Maui, not a problem. So I'm allowing Maui.
And for the people that don't know what, say, subconscious reprogramming is, could you say it in a term that maybe some people might understand without having any preconception ideas?
Absolutely. So, we've all experienced feelings of I'm not worthy, or I'm too scared to do this, or I'm not capable of doing that. And those are beliefs that we have, but the reason it's so difficult to change those beliefs is because in the subconscious, there's proof and evidence from childhood. So just very briefly, from birth, the subconscious is recording every experience that happens to us, but not as a camera records it. So the subconscious interprets every experience and files it for future reference. So this is how we learn who we are and how the world works.
Okay.
And why we don't have to consciously keep remembering our name and other details and how to respond to things. It's all on automatic, because in every moment the subconscious is referring to that evidence of who we are and how the world works, and then prompting the brain and body to produce chemicals that then create feelings and emotions, and the conscious mind responds accordingly. So it's why with affirmations, if someone feels they don't have confidence and they're going, I am worthy, I am valuable, I am confident. But if the subconscious is referring to experiences from childhood, which say you're not worthy and the world is a dangerous place and you're not safe, then it will be producing the stress chemicals that cause that fear anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, so if we take the subjects of money, if people have got those things where their parents have said, money doesn't grow on trees, money is the root of all evil, you're not worthy, you have to work harder, not smart, all those types of things, which some of us think we just brush off.
Yeah, that's right.
But we don't
actually
realize
we've stored them.
You reference them, as you've said, in your little filing machine. What you're saying is that people that are struggling with finance, or what we hear a lot of time, people hit a ceiling, don't they? They can only earn this much money.
Yeah.
You're saying, oh, okay, there you go. You're saying that actually, if we work on our programming, we're releasing that personal block, not just to ourselves, but also using universal laws, right?
Absolutely.
Steve obviously wants to wait.
As you were saying that, I'm going, yeah, that was my story. I had another business earlier in my career, and I would, be on the income roller coaster. I'm sure that we have, probably all experienced that to a certain degree.
Entrepreneur's journey. Feast, famine,
That's
right?
And it would be like I would get to a certain level. It was like I couldn't even break beyond, but it would just be I would get to the certain level and then back down again.
Okay.
And so the subconscious programmings, I mean, you're not thinking about this stuff you're consciously as it's happening, but as you're working on finding those programs that are back there, it's like, as you're finding these programs, it's like, oh, it makes so much sense now. It's like I grew up in a family where I would hear my father coming home. He was a mechanic, an auto mechanic, and almost on a nightly basis, he would be complaining about the rich people's cars that he was working on that day.
Right.
Or the rich person that owned the business and how much he spoke down about rich people. And there was I don't want to offend your viewers, but it was like the language was the rich bastards that he worked for.
Yeah.
There was a row of houses near ours where the banker in town, the merchants in town lived, and it was rich bastards lane. So it was just that.
And we've got
Kieran's
some of that.
saying that he's an anger management coach, and he's saying that he touches on finance as a cause of anger as well, which is what you're picking up on there.
Yeah, and
for me, it was unsafe. It was unsafe to earn an amount of money that in my subconscious felt like was too much, because then I would be one of them. And then subconsciously, I wouldn't be part of the tribe. I wouldn't have that love of my father.
I'm picking up on what Alison's saying here is money is a complex beast, right? She's saying about the time money paradox. So you might have plenty of money, but then no time.
Yeah.
And then you might have plenty of time, but then no money. So, this is we're talking about all types of limitations.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. And so really, if I was to say it this way, what would you say is the role that stress and fear plays in our finances?
So the fascinating thing is that it becomes a vicious circle physiologically, because when we're worried about money or stressed about money and any other negative emotion, stress chemicals are pumped into the system, and into the limbic system, or the limbic system produces stress chemicals. And one of the effects of stress chemicals is that they cause blood to drain from the prefrontal cortex of our brain, where we do our cognitive thinking, to the back of the brain, which means whenever you're feeling a negative emotion, you literally can't think straight. The part of your brain that makes decisions and solves problems and notices opportunities, assesses risk, does figures, math, all of that is literally offline. So it becomes that vicious circle, because you're worried about money, which means you can't think straight. You can't use that part of your brain to solve problems and notice opportunities and be creative and productive and increase your business.
And don't you sit there, people say that, don't they? They feel like they're in a fog.
Yeah.
When there is, they say, I literally can't see.
I can't see the wood for the trees,
answers.
and I can't, yeah.
So they're basically in that reptilian part of their brain, aren't they? Where it's that fight and flight survival mode, where you don't actually make rational decisions from.
No.
You're just responding.
Yeah.
Right.
What many people don't realize, and I didn't realize until I, found out about it, is that you don't have to be in an extreme emotional state for that to happen.
Right.
Okay.
This is just, self-doubt or a little bit of worry or feeling angry about it. All negative emotions are a level of that fight, freeze, flight emergency state.
Okay. So then let's talk about finances. What do you think are the things that are impacting those, whatever level of stress we're at? What are the things that are influencing our financial choices?
Right. So, so there's normal things that most people think of, which is the practical stuff.
Yeah.
And we think that we're making conscious decisions. We think we're going, well, I'm making this decision because of the knowledge I have and because of the experience I have and because it makes sense. But the truth is that it's happening. The conscious mind is so tiny compared to the subconscious. And what's happening in every moment is, as I said before, the subconscious is referring to evidence from childhood experiences that so-called proves who we are and how the world works, and then prompting the brain and body to produce chemicals. And the conscious mind thinks, that we think we're making those decisions based on logic. So for example, a decision on how much to charge. This is a big
your prices up or something, right?
Yeah.
Right. And so to give an example, I used to hate asking for money. I would go into that freeze fright, and there's two things that happen. One, I once panic quoted £24 for 2 people for 3 hours of coaching.
That's panic charging.
24.
Where did you even get that figure from?
I know, it's like.
Well, I got it from, I was at the time, I was running workshops, and the workshops cost £24 per person,
Right.
weeks for a group of people, but this was private coaching at the person's house for 2 of them. So that's an example. And then the other one is and I did this often, but one particular time I was doing a free talk and I had copies of my book, and someone said to me, "Oh, how much is your book?" And I went, "You can just have it."
Free. Yeah. And I'm just going to say, so Tim's here said at some level this connects across the panic attacks. If your nervous system is constantly under stress, it only takes a small thing to tip you over into that fight, flight, freeze.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And I'm going to pick you back up on the thing that you said about putting prices up as well, because what you're doing there is what Tim's sort of explaining, that you've gone into that fight or flight mode.
Right.
Isn't there something also when I know that we've done this with people, and Helena goes, "Oh, what if you put an extra 0 on that charge?
Add a naught, my just to kind of really play with
it,
people,
right? Play with people's prices.
So that because one of the things that we help people with a lot is, how do you charge, and how does it make sense to charge for your services in the range of services that you've actually got.
If anyone wants that, we've done a Facebook live on how to price your product, so go and watch that on the replay. But to challenge it, I usually say, okay, so if people have a hesitancy and they're open, I say add a naught, because it shifts their thinking. So what am I doing to people when I do that? What effect?
So I'll give you the example the real life example of me to give an indication of what's going on. So through the process we use, I discovered that, so whenever I would go to invoice someone or ask to be paid for something, I would go into that fear state. Right. And what I discovered was, I had, when I was a child, we were raised with the understanding, if you ask, you don't get.
Right.
So it was kind of a manners thing. So,
like you should be only be spoken polite, to type of thing.
Right, exactly. You wait to be offered. And so now I did not remember that consciously until I started exploring this, but it made perfect sense. So every time I was going to invoice someone or ask to be paid, my subconscious was referring to the so-called fact, if you ask, you won't get it.
Wow,
and pumping stress chemicals into my system to create that fear, to stop me from doing it. Now, it doesn't make conscious sense. It doesn't make logical sense.
Yeah.
But here's the key thing is that the subconscious can't use logical reason.
Doesn't know what's real and what isn't real, does it?
Exactly. It's like a computer. It just does what it's programmed to do.
Yeah.
So while you consciously want more money, your subconscious is going, no, you're going to die.
So by that token, so this might be opening up a can of worms, but what makes some people successful financially and not others then?
Yes.
And how do you switch?
Come on, Steve, give it to us.
If I just keep rolling.
I smile and nod. I think that I would say that one of those things is those homeostasis states, those subconscious programs that are there. I know that for me, that there was a from birth almost. I can carry it back to prior to birth, but that there was a sense of anxiety that was always there. I was born into an anxious family, so that there was that sense of fear, and that sense of anxiety was always there. It was normal, and what your subconscious is trying to do is to keep you in a place that is, it feels very homeostasis. It's trying to get you back into that state because the subconscious is just trying to keep us safe, and it's using what it's always known as that safe state. So we are subconsciously lining up with decisions that will throw us back into a state of anxiety. So not having enough money, hey, that would work as a really nice anxious state to be in. So that is craziness because it doesn't seem to make any logical sense, but it's what's lining up homeostasisly. Is that a word?
Good word. Good word.
It is now.
It is.
It's lining up with what we're used to physiologically going on in our brain and body.
So there might be some people, Steve, who have lived and been brought up, or it doesn't always have to be early. So I know a lot of your stuff is back into early years, but it could be in schools, it could be, what they've been
anywhere, anything almost. Yeah.
But if they're in if they've been in a high risk family where they live on adrenaline and those types of things, then those people might really love the chase of the sale, the closing, the buzz that they get around from selling from stage. And they might be the people that then thrive financially because that's something that is actually a homeostasis for them. Is that right? Or am I making that up?
That is possible. So it's going to vary from person to person depending on what else is there.
Okay.
So every person has a unique background, a unique life experience, and all experiences are filtered through the data from previous experiences and then added to that structure of who I am and how the world works.
Okay.
So two people can have the same experiences. They can grow up in the same family, but one may, as you say, get that thrill from that, and the other one may be frozen by it.
Okay, because of their personality, style, introvert, extrovert, all the things that are
all of the aspects of who they become. And in addition to that, of course, what's at the core of everything is who I am. I learned who I am from those experiences. And if who I am is, not worthy and I'm in danger, I'm not safe, then I may be more aggressive or I may be more withdrawn, but that's going to make a huge difference. Now, the same people with the same opportunities and the same amount of time and resources and all that can have different results because their judgment is being determined by those that evidence and those proofs subconsciously, and they're not consciously aware of it. So where I was 51 years old and couldn't pay my bills, renting a room in a shared house, cleaning other people's houses. And just a few months later, I was traveling internationally as well as being able to pay my bills and paying for my son and my sister to join me in that. And that's because I made those two switches, learning to control my brain and body chemistry to keep prefrontal cortex online, and changing that proof and evidence in my subconscious that said I wasn't worthy.
Great. I know we haven't really spoke about this, and I know we've got limited time, but for the people out there that go, okay, I understand doing the internal work.
Yeah.
How does that then change the external world around you for those opportunities for that? How does that align?
Yeah.
Great question. So everything wherever we are now, all of us, is the result of little decisions that have been made along the way, most of them unconscious. And so what this does, it does it on two levels. Number one, it changes, it keeps your prefrontal cortex online more of the time, so you're able to notice opportunities.
More blood, more blood.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. And be able to, because just something like working out figures, you can make mistakes if you haven't got this part of your brain online. Or
detail, isn't it?
Yeah, or you can think there's no point in doing that. That's not going to work, or it will work depending on the state you're in and whether this part of your brain is online or not. Communication, it affects your communication, your ability to process information and comprehend information. All of that is done here. And so just on that level, it'll make a massive difference. You know, to your, and problem solving, you know, so two people can have the same financial issue and one may find a solution that works and one may not, based on whether they've got their brain online or not. And then the second part of it is that unconsciously we're constantly being prompted to make decisions and stay in alignment with whatever's back there. So I think of it like a GPS. So I think of it like driving. So if you want to drive from here to your goals, you've got, you need to be able to drive, which means you need to
I have a car.
How to keep this part of your brain online. And the second thing is you need to make sure that the GPS coordinates line up with your destination that you want to get to. So that your subconscious references line up with the success you want to get to.
Yeah.
And so then that then ties in to things like, so you say you've got your GPS, say something happens and there's a roadblock, and your GPS will actually go, let's not sit in that 10 hours worth of traffic. Let's, what you're also able to do is spot opportunities, right? Exactly. So where you might have this opportunity that if this wasn't working, you wouldn't have even heard that conversation, seen that advert, whatever it might be, to then go, that's a way of me getting that first $5 grand that I need to get myself out of that situation. Is that correct?
Spot on. Absolutely spot on. Yes.
Okay. So some people on the live might be thinking, okay, I've got an issue with money. I feel like I'm like Steve, maybe hitting that block.
But I've done the work. And so what does it look like?
So what are the behaviors? What are the indicators that their body, their situation could be showing them to go, actually, you might need to do some inner work or, you know, different type of work.
Right?
Well, I think that one of those would be that you're constantly repeating the same behaviors, you know, or you're in that feeling of self-sabotage. I'm here again.
Okay.
You know, I've done this. I've read these books. I keep doing this, but I keep running into the same problem.
Okay. So if you see a reoccurring pattern in your behavior or your situation.
Because in each and every moment, the subconscious is, you know, confronting whatever the situation is, and it's reaching back through that large warehouse of all of the information that's there. It's choosing something that feels and looks similar in order to be able to produce a reaction to what's happening right now.
And is it normally a reaction, i.e. a physical response, a behavior, or is it a thinking as well? Like right.
Yeah, both.
So I could be
you want to line up, you're trying to subconsciously line up with a feeling that feels familiar in this situation. And then what that ends up doing is it projects us into the future along that same contiguous straight line so that the future ends up looking like the past has always been. And you're like, how did I do this again?
And interestingly, that might answer Kieran's kind of observation here of, would you say that there is some tunnel thinking in financial decision making?
Well, here's the key, I think, to answer that question, is that yes, and so yes, consciously and subconsciously, and it's the subconscious that's the problem because we're not aware of it. So I know when I was trying to change my financial patterns, I did everything conscious. I changed my beliefs. I believed in abundance. I did the law of attraction stuff. I made decisions, clever financial decisions. Everything. I believed I was worthy. I did all of that, and yet I was still failing over and over.
The evidence said differently.
Right. And every time I made a conscious decision, I made a conscious effort, my subconscious was correcting, you know,
so
thermostat.
Yeah, so now I'm in the obvious question, which is, okay, so how does somebody clear those blocks then if they're holding it back, right?
But what you're saying here is that no matter, these are making changes, right? Because you're becoming more self-aware.
Yeah.
So you're making these conscious decisions. So they are going to maybe have a tiny impact.
Yeah.
But what you're saying is this memory bank is so powerful that it was like a magnet, and it will draw you back to what it believes is the truth.
Yeah, it's like one step forward, 2 steps back.
Spot on. Absolutely.
So
like
this is still important. Strategic budgeting, beliefs. This is still important.
The learning element
first,
is, yes.
So that then this will, I take it, this accelerates dramatically once you've done this.
Beyond what you expect.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So now go on to your...
So
I think what I want to add as well is that it becomes effortless.
Right.
Okay.
It becomes natural and automatic, and you're not forcing anything.
Oh, so it goes back to the homeostasis, but you've got a new homeostasis.
And this is the thing, like when The Secret came out all those years ago, and everyone went, right, I've done my vision board, I'm thinking abundantly, I'm waiting for the money to fall out of the sky, and this law of attraction stuff doesn't work.
Yeah.
You're now, because I know that we both have a common love for Joe Dispenza, and, you know, all of this work is very much the same. Tell us a little bit about what this program involves. Tell us how the people can work on these blocks.
Right. So the first thing, so there are 3 questions to ask yourself, 3 main questions. The first is, how do I know it's a problem?
Okay,
great. What's the problem? How do I know it's a problem? So I'll give examples as I go. My example was, I don't have enough money to pay my bills. That's how I know I have a problem.
Sure.
The second question is, how does that feel? So in my case, it felt like they want something of me and I don't have it to give them. I want to give it, but I don't have it. Then the third question is, where in your childhood or teenage years did you feel that same feeling? But here's the most important key. It may be a different topic. So it may have nothing to do with money.
Yeah.
But
can you tell the example of the tickle?
Yeah.
Can you do the tickle one? Do you remember the one that you told me?
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
This will just as you all might realize, we obviously know
these
Steve
guys. They're in our Changemaker Central.
Yeah.
We've done their programs. We love them.
Yes. So
what you're saying, Odille, isn't it? Is that they might feel shame that they can't pay their rent.
Yeah.
But the shame that they had in their childhood might not be shame around money.
It's not related.
Absolutely.
It's just
absolutely
shame.
Yeah.
Yes. So so shame could be, you know, being forced to stand up in front of the class because, you know, you've done something wrong or whatever.
Well, they wet their pants when they were 4 at nursery or whatever, right? Yeah.
Right. And so that example of I felt one of the things I was experiencing was I felt like I was being held back. Like I wanted to do stuff I knew I could, but I just couldn't seem to get myself to do it because financially I couldn't move forward. And it felt like whenever I tried, I was held back from doing what I knew I could. And I traced it back to being physically held down and tickled.
My worst nightmare. Like I'm the most ticklish person out there. So
she doesn't do a hug, so never mind a tickle.
The way I found it wasn't just being held down. It was incomprehensible. So it was that feeling of this should work. I should be making money. Everybody else is making money. It's like I can't even put it into words. I feel like I could burst.
When you're being tickled, you can't say stop. Because everything freezes. You're like, I want to kick them. And sometimes you laugh and they think you're enjoying it. And I'm like, no.
Exactly. And that was the same frustration. So now what we do is we change those memories. Now that's quite a big topic, but in very briefly, memories, of course, are not things. They're not happening right now. They're just neural connections in the brain. That's all. They're not actually, we don't go back in time. But what we're doing is rewiring the neocortex of the brain and changing the resources in the subconscious. And if you've ever watched a scary movie,
Yeah.
you'll notice that your brain and body go into the same state. Your heart rate increases, and
You're
you go
there,
down.
aren't you?
Yeah.
I'm there
Right.
with it, the
Yeah,
clown,
yeah.
freaking out.
Stop. There are people now freaking out.
And here's the thing, even though your conscious mind knows it's just a movie. So you're watching a movie, you're going, I'm not in real danger. This is just a movie. It doesn't stop your subconscious from putting
Oh,
your
no.
Ralph doesn't take me to see scary movies anymore because
I don't do them either.
the whole of the cinema ends up looking at me because I've shrieked at some point or other. So it doesn't happen anymore.
Right. And so that's because your subconscious can't tell the difference between reality and imagination, and cannot judge something as unrealistic. So you'll notice it doesn't have to be a realistic scary movie. Dinosaurs, anyone?
So
your subconscious is going to accept anything that you give it.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's also going to make, it's just like changing up a memory isn't any different than changing up your telephone number.
Yes.
So if I handed you a brand new telephone and a brand new telephone number, in a week's time, I would come back and say, hey, what's your phone number? And if you've been rehearsing that, you've made a link in your mind between the word phone number and this new bit of information.
Yeah.
And the more you rehearse that, the more you replay that, that becomes the go-to. Now, you may still know that you have another telephone number.
Nice example. I like that.
That's beautiful. And that's actually what you mean by keeping ourselves online more of the time in a way that we want to, right?
Right. Yeah.
Who we are is who we identify with. And if we think that we are somebody that's always in debt or, you know, blah, 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 that's the phone number that you're telling yourself to go back to when you're calling in your identity, right?
Right. But more than that, we are changing the subconscious evidence that proves. So for example, what I did then with the tickling thing is I did it so that I was never tickled. And instead of being tickled, we were playing a game. It was a Monopoly or whatever. And so that made it a safe, fun memory instead of that horribleness.
Yeah.
And that now my subconscious is referring to the fact that I'm safe, I'm free, I'm not, held back and that. And so it's producing feel-good chemicals instead of stress chemicals.
And this is the bit that literally blows my mind, because I remember we did the work on, I can't remember when my dog got hit by a car and I had that sensation, right? So this is what I love. You're telling people, or you train people to go back into the movie of their life, rewrite the script, rewatch the movie again and again and again. So they can't even remember what the movie used to be like.
That's right.
This is the new movie that becomes their reference point.
Yeah.
You're not saying, and this is what I want to get across, if somebody's had some real trauma, abuse, whatever,
I agree.
You're not saying that didn't happen to you.
No. Absolutely.
Saying, let's go and change the memory so that doesn't affect and keep on having a knock-on effect in your day.
Yeah.
Because you have the control of your destiny. You can rewrite the story.
And it is really, really sensitively done.
Yeah.
So I do just want to go back through to, just because there's been a lot of story around all of this. Odille, what were the 3 questions that help people realize?
So the 3 questions, how do I know? So how do I know this is a problem? Or you can also ask, what's the worst thing about it?
Great.
Okay.
Second question, how does that feel? And the third question, where in my childhood or teenage years did I feel the same feeling? It may be a different topic, but will be the same feeling.
Great. And then we've got a comment.
Got a question from Kieran. What about outside influences, in brackets, society expectations, affecting the subconscious?
Very good question, Kieran. So there's 2 things. Whatever we experience from outside influences the way we experience it is going to depend on what references we already have. So you can have several people, 2 different people experiencing the same outside influence from society and everything else. But they may have 2 completely different experiences because they've got different references.
And it's really interesting because inside the Connection Hub, there are so many conversations that happen that people ask for support or help, where one person may well not be, putting themselves forward for opportunities and asking for help with why is that not happening? And then you see the support come in from other people who are literally going for the same thing, but actually coming at it from a different perspective. Okay. So I love that whole, it's contextual and individual around what goes on, right?
Yes. Because the thing is, we can't make other people change, and there are circumstances that happen and events that happen that we have no control over, but what we absolutely can have complete control over is how we experience it.
Yeah.
So I have two questions.
Yeah.
When people are going back and rewriting this story, and I know the answer, but I want my members to, is, do they go under some form of hypnosis is the question. And the second question is, can they do this by themselves, or do they need to have somebody to do it with them?
Right. So thank you for those questions. So first of all, there's no hypnosis. It is as simple, but not easy, as just imagining the event differently. The reason we can't just imagine the event differently is because the emotions attached to it.
Right.
So the process we use is very simple, and we bring those emotions down, bring the stress chemicals down, introduce feel-good chemicals, and then it's literally a case of just creating a new memory and then practicing it. You don't need anyone to do it for you. You can just do it on your own. And we have a free starter pack that will let you do that. However, I do want to put a little add to that, is we don't recommend doing trauma on your own, because
completely,
obviously it's very important to get help with that.
And I've just put the link to your website, guys. Where would they get that pack from? Is it on the homepage? It's
right on the homepage, theremmertmethod.com.
Perfect.
Right at the top.
You scroll down just a teeny little bit and you'll see a nice little box that says pack, which is really cool.
And so in that pack is an MP3 audio guide that you can download. It's a 2-minute exercise. You can just listen to it, follow along. A PDF that'll explain exactly what subconscious references are, how they're created, and how to find them. And then a video, a step-by-step video you can follow along with to actually change your own.
Yeah. Which is just so helpful and amazing, sort of, because actually the financials, and I think you all realize, we like to give more than just the one thing. So whilst we're talking about the financials here, all sorts of things get us stressed. So for the speakers, authors, and coaches that are doing this, maybe you're an author who is wanting to break into speaking a little bit. You may well find benefit in doing this yourself.
There might be some things around confidence, visibility, all those types of things. Isn't there?
But specifically around this time of year, we thought we'd bring the attention through from the financials, because what if 2020 could be your most financially successful year
if you had that limitless mindset?
Yes,
where anything's possible. And that's why we like about this, because yes, we will always do practical lives.
Yeah.
And even our newsletter, as Helena said, this month is about the metrics, because they are those tactical things that you said you work on.
Yeah.
But one of the things that I feel people find around finances is they're not in control.
That's right.
And so they often go, it's happening to me. I attract debt.
Yeah.
People aren't paying on time. So that they feel like they're helpless.
Yeah.
And I think this type of methodology, this way of looking at things, is that you are in control.
We're inviting you to say you're in charge.
Absolutely. From charging what you're worth and what you're able to get, to the way you communicate with people. So, like people used to not pay me, but you'll come up with ideas of wording and how to, and you'll be attracting different people and that kind of thing. It just affects so much.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So your literal frequency increases, doesn't it? And you vibe like-minded, like-valued people.
That's it.
It is crazy. Yeah. And I know people go, it's a bit woo-woo, it's a bit spooky, it's a bit synchronicity going on. But actually, when you've done these things, literally, things normally pop the next day and you're like, really? Okay, I'm going to wash that one off, because and then the next thing happens, you're like,
okay. And it just becomes that new evidence. And so that's why we wanted to put you in front of everybody to simply say, there may well be a different way. You don't have to choose what you've always chosen.
Yeah.
And sometimes we need a little bit of help, right?
We'll end on Alison. She said, you can unpick the story created from the event, because stories aren't facts. We make subconscious decisions about how life is based on our experiences. The experiences happened, but we can reshape the beliefs we've built around upon them. So I think that's from our awesome copywriter who says things so eloquently, who I know that you're connected to in Changemaker Central and everything. So, we really appreciate you giving our viewers a different perspective on how they can control their finances, but all their blocks, basically, because we've worked with you. We love you.
Yeah.
I know you've helped so many people in the hub. Deborah's work. There are so many people that have come to you and you've just literally gone
change their
lives, right?
And so that's what we wanted to invite, and we're really grateful for you kind of taking up your morning.
Getting up early to chat to us.
You're very welcome. We love what we do.
It's really good.
We love answering questions, so if anyone has any questions,
we will. People that will watch it on the replay will just tag you guys. I've put your website link in there as well, so they can connect with you either in the hub, if they're change makers in change makers. Kieran's saying brilliant live, really enjoyed it, or via your website. Great. We wish you all a great day, a great nearly evening for us, and a great morning for you.
And
lots of love.
Happy Chinese New Year.
You too.
It's really good.
See you later, guys. Thank you.
Bye for now. What are we saying?